So, Peter King, you have scored the Quinella 5 times in a row here with Katz and Curtis.
That is great, but it's not as great as you being on the front page of the New York Post. Every page I turned to, all I could see was Curtis. So I hate to say it, but congratulations. You are bigger than ever, probably more impossible to deal with than ever, but you've done a great job. And all kidding aside, having you there exemplifies how bad the situation has gotten in the subways, and the Guardian Angels can be a big help. I wish the mayor appreciated that, and thank you for what you do. And that's the last good thing I'm going to say about you.
Good, because that front page could have been what Elon Musk said yesterday about Zelensky and the Ukraine. Remember, Elon Musk helped the Ukraine initially when Russia invaded through the use of the satellites so that the Ukrainians could identify where the enemy was racing towards Kiev from, and also to be their communication point. Communications was down. But now Elon Musk, who's played footsie with Vladimir Putin, has said he wants to know where all the money has gone. He thinks that the oligarchs have been wine-dined and pocket-lined with U.S. military aid. Joe Biden saying was sending over, I think, another $1.9 billion package before he goes out the door. What's your reaction to that, Congressman Peter King?
I think he's totally wrong. I don't think he has any idea what he's talking about. The fact is, we don't send a lot of money. What we send is weapon systems. We send weapons, and that's the value of those weapons, and then we resupply them here in the United States. So actually it does bring jobs to Americans, if you want to say that. But it's not cash. I mean, there is some cash obviously going, but almost all of it is for weapon systems that they need. If Musk gets something on it, listen, Republicans have controlled all the important committees in the House of Representatives that investigate Ukraine. As far as I know, they have not come up with any corruption. There may be some. They haven't come up with any. And so why Musk is saying that, I don't know. Maybe he wants to be friendly with Putin. But I do think it's important that we stop Russian aggression. This is the first aggression in Europe of one country invading another since Germany invaded Poland, I guess, in 1939, or invaded France in 1940. There have been no invasions. There have been fighting in the Balkans, but no invasion of one country by another. To allow this to begin now, listen, there's a reason why countries like Sweden and Finland, who were totally neutral during the whole Cold War, they have now begged and gotten into NATO because they see the threat coming from Russia. Not that Russia is going to take over the world, but if Russia can destabilize Europe militarily, also get countries like Germany and others to start relying on them more economically, then you have China at the same time advancing, Iran doing what it does. To me, right now we have Ukraine fighting our war for us. And if Putin is successful there, I think it'll be the Baltic states next, maybe Finland, I don't know, going to parts of Poland. And if with all of NATO supporting Ukraine now in the United States, if Putin prevails, I see countries like Germany and others moving into Russia's orbit, not militarily, but economically.
All right, question here, Peter King. President Donald Trump said, I get into office, I'll resolve this Ukrainian-Russian war in one day. Doesn't look like it's going to happen that way.
It'll happen.
I don't know. I'd like to see it. I mean, but we can't bring about a peace just by surrendering part of Ukraine. That's what Chamberlain did at Munich back in 1938, I guess it was. You cannot reward Putin's aggression. Again, this is the first active aggression in Europe since Germany was invading countries like Poland and France in the late 30s and early 40s. So we can't allow it to stand. You can't just go in and declare peace and let one side win. And to me, this is not an even war. This is Russia invaded Ukraine. That cannot be allowed to stand. And also, when did Elon Musk become a foreign policy expert? I don't know what he's done.
Well, the money. There's accusations, Peter, that the money is flowing in as possible kickbacks to the Democratic Party. I mean, it's
that's shown that
Mike Johnson, Mike the Speaker has the case and some of the proof. He gave it to the 19 Republican attorney generals because Mike Johnson did not trust the Department of Justice.
John, if that happens, that's one thing. I have not seen any proof of that, and nor have any of the other Republicans in the House, because they still are supporting the aid to Ukraine, and they may have the same information Johnson has. And, there's always accusations being made. But to me, in this case, unless that can be proven, we could be committing a really serious error here, which will cost American lives in the future. I mean, all these accusations against Ukraine. I have no reason to be defending Ukraine. Nobody in my family is Ukrainian. I don't have any friends who are Ukrainian. I never received a penny in contributions from anyone involved with Ukraine. But I just say, when you look at the situation of the world, this is like 1938, 1939 again. Not that Russia is the same power as Germany. They are powerful. They're the second or third most powerful country in the world. And to allow them to carry out aggression, and then to allow them to do it based on...
I agree. We should listen. We can't be afraid of talking about it, but we should get proof. And I agree 110% that it's subject to getting proof that it's true or not true. But the Act Blue, the Democratic people that are collecting money worldwide, admitted they're no longer collecting money from foreigners. They were collecting money from foreigners. How did $1.5 billion come into the coffers for Harris in 15 weeks?
Well, see, that's the focus of the FBI. They've been busting Chinese agents for pouring money into our political process. But, Peter King, you used to sit as the chairman in the House of the National Security Division. What would you be saying about this report that Red China hacked our Treasury Department in a major breach, and what should be the response from the United States, if in fact it's true?
Well, first of all, we have to, if that is the case, we would have to shore up our defenses right away, do whatever we can to see what errors we have, what weaknesses are in the system, and stop it. Then we have to find ways to retaliate. And I'm no expert in this. I see at the briefings all the time. But what we can do as far as hacking in the other direction, we can do more to China, I believe, than they can do to us. And we would have to start doing that, taking some measures against China, which would really hurt them, penalize them, whether it's freezing accounts, whether it's screwing up their communications. We would have to take not just equivalent retaliatory action, but we have to one-up them and go ahead and let them know this is not going to be tolerated in the future. It's almost like a threat of mass destruction here. We can't allow them to get away with this at all. And it's in a world, Curtis, that you and I have very little training in, but the fact is we know it's there, and we have the experts. We have to use them, and we have to make sure that this is not allowed to go on, and that China cannot get away with this in the future. And so we stop them, and then we take further action ourselves.
Peter, I love you, and I agree with you 110%. But what are you going to do? 1 million people died during COVID that came out of the Wuhan. Fauci is probably guilty. I think Rand Paul is turning it over to the new Department of Justice. And 100,000 Americans died because of the Chinese gangs working with the Mexican gangs and putting in fentanyl into the United States. What are you going to do against the Chinese? You know what the Chinese said to the United States? You know, you want to do something, we'll cut off your antibiotics.
Well, that is, again, a glaring weakness that we have. I think about 90% of antibiotics right now in China. We should, first of all, stop American companies from investing in China. We should not, to have all these healthcare companies, to have pharmaceutical companies investing in China is wrong. It puts our country at risk. We cannot be continuing to deal with China as another trading partner. In many ways, this would be like trading with Hitler during World War II. China right now they've gone beyond being a adversary. To me, they've in many ways almost declared war on us. We have to retaliate against them appropriately. We should be cutting back certainly dramatically on business. We should be doing all we can to encourage pharmaceuticals, either by enticement or by threats, to stay here in the United States. We can't be putting our vital resources at the control of China.
All right, but now Congressman Peter King, what do we do? President Xi has been extended an invitation to the inauguration January 20th, first leader ever to have that honor bestowed on him. What happens if he decides to show up?
Then he should have one-on-one meetings with Donald Trump and his national security team, and being told that if China wants to go forward with us, they have to knock off what they're doing. They have to stop threatening Taiwan. They have to stop threatening the Philippines. They have to stop trying to assume control of the South China Sea. That's number one. Number two, Until then, we're going to take severe economic actions against them, and it's going to hurt some American businesses here, yes. But on the other hand, in the long run, it's going to save American lives. To me, it's something we have to do.
No.
It can't be business as usual with China. And also, remember, he didn't try much of this when Trump was the president. Now, again, he said that China was involved with COVID, then that did go on under Donald Trump, and Trump, more than anyone, should be taking.
I know, but I tried, and you stopped me. You, Peter King, and Vito Fossella. We were sitting in a very high-end Italian restaurant on the Upper East Side. They were collecting signatures. I forget what the petition was. You, your lovely wife, Vito Fossella, his lovely wife, and you invited me because I was broadcasting it on the air. And I looked across, and there was Stephon Marbury, who's become a hero in Red China. They built a statue of this basketball player outside of one of their arenas. And I wanted to fight him. And you two guys said, wrong time, wrong place. Remember, Curtis, we got our wives with us here. Do you remember that, Peter King?
I remember you being there with us. First of all, I didn't invite you. Vito did, because he's a much nicer guy than I am. But speaking of nice guys, let me just put a quick word. You had Craig Eaton on. He is the greatest guy in the world, great lawyer, great political leader, just a great human being. So let me just say that. I do remember that night. You're at Stephon Marbury. I remember you were up there. Was the name of the restaurant? It was a great restaurant up in the Upper East Side there. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Anyway, it was a great place. And, right, maybe that could have ended the Cold War right there.
Yeah, you stopped me. I approached him. I was mad dogging him. He was stepping to me. And both you guys said, our wives are here. Would you knock it off, Curtis? You said that, Peter. You're a fighting man. You go to the gym once a week. And now you're holding me back?
He's a prize boxer.
Yes, I was going to settle the problem right there. I was going to knock his block off.
Who was that?
Stephon Marbury used to be our basketball player. He went over to Red China. Now he's, the big Chinese sellout.
He got double coupons, double the money?
And they built a statue in his honor. Come on, Peter King. Admit it. I could have settled our differences right there.
You might have been on the floor.
That would have been a great event, and we should have let you do it, but what can I tell you?
Oh, yeah.
I'll be with you.
We could have buried Curtis then.
No, they both hid behind their wives' skirts there, instead of letting me settle the war between Red China and the United States.
Okay, why don't we make up for that? When Donald Trump does meet with the president of China, have you in the room?
Well, the last time he met with the president of China, he was having dinner as Xi was having his ice cream at the end.
No, his chocolate cake.
His chocolate cake. Trump says, "You got to excuse me for a few minutes. We're bombing what?
Syria." And he came back 20 minutes later.
Talking about Syria. Who's in charge of Syria? Congressman King.
No one is right now. I mean, the group that has come out on top, they only control parts of Syria. Unfortunately, they are led by former Al Qaeda members. Now they say they've sworn off Islamist terrorism. I
promise I won't do it again.
Yeah, I share your laugh. I mean, there's no way we can trust them at all. And also, we have people of the north, Kurds, that we've been helping for years. We have now 2,000 American troops in Syria. There were always about 800, 900. Now it's up to 2,000. And the Turks want to take them out, but the Kurds have been strong allies of ours against ISIS. So this is, there is talk, some progress is being made, but this is where you really need someone who has a great knowledge of foreign policy. If this would have been ideal.
You need a scorecard to see who's on first base.
Yeah, and guess what? You need someone. You can't be making quick decisions on this. This is where a guy like Richard Nixon, Henry Kissinger, people like that who can sort out who's who, because there's at least 4 or 5 different conflicting groups now in Syria. And we cannot allow that to become a haven for ISIS. We can't allow that to, in any way, to allow Russia to come back into Syria. I mean, they were out for years. Then basically Obama invited them back in. They have bases there. I think they're going to be being pushed out. I don't know. I'm not there on the ground. But I'm telling you, this could be a very positive step forward. It could weaken Iran. It could weaken Russia. Now, Turkey, of course, they want to assume their power in that part of the world. And we can't allow, because they are supposed NATO allies, but they talk about playing both sides. They really do. So it's This has to be someone, a real
Peter, you remember Congressman King, this same Bashir Assad who fled to Russia, used to summer with his family, with Erdogan's family in southern Turkey. They were the best of friends. They had a falling out, and Erdogan devoted all of his resources to toppling his very dear friend Bashir Assad. So you know what it's like in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf. Friends one day, enemies the next. We should just subcontract Israel. They've done such a magnificent job. Give them the weapons.
By the way, they've done a great job. The fact that they moved so quickly to knock out all those chemical weapons facilities and rocket facilities in Syria, it was great. You mentioned Bashir Assad. This is how confusing the Middle East is. When his father died and he was coming in, so many of the experts said it's a new day in Syria. Bashar Assad, he's an ophthalmologist. He's educated. He's Western educated. He has great love for the West. He spent a lot of time in England. This guy will be pro-Western. He'll be with us. He became worse than his father, absolutely worse than his father. So it's so difficult to read what's happening over there. But we have to. This can't be just something shunted off to the State Department. Trump has got to get a foreign policy expert that he trusts fully. Put that person, him or her, in charge to sort this out, because otherwise we could, 5 or 10 years from now, we'll have all these other problems solved, and Syria could end up becoming like, the Iran.
Well, he is suggesting, President-elect Donald Trump, that he wants out of Syria, and that would leave the Kurds vulnerable to Erdogan, who wants to annihilate them. The Kurds have been our only allies in that part of the world other than Israel, and they ran the prisons for ISIS, the Kurds. They kept ISIS behind barbed wire and brick and mortar buildings because ISIS is a threat to everybody, including all these other crazy Arabs over there, who want to commit jihad.
And who do you trust? Nobody knows who to trust.
There are thousands of ISIS prisoners being held by the Kurds. If we just pull out and lose interest in Syria, they could all be turned loose, and that would create another terrorist chaos and carnage over the next several years. So, no, we can't pull out. I'm not saying send troops in there. There are some troops now who are protecting the Kurds, but other than that, we should use our diplomacy, our economic power, and use Israel. Israel, they probably have a greater on-the-ground knowledge of what's happening in Syria than anybody in our government. Work with the Israelis, give them many more options, give them more possibilities to go in, do what they feel has to be done, because there's no friends there. The Kurds are our friends. Other than that, there are no friends. It's people we can use. They'll try to use us, and it's going to be to just work it out in a way that Syria does not become a future threat, and that ISIS is not, or Al-Qaeda and Islamists don't gain the upper hand, and also Erdogan, you can't trust him as far as you can throw him.
No, you
can't. I don't want him getting the upper hand either.
But I want to compliment you for a fifth day in a row. Congressman Peter King, you were geopolitically magnificent in your defense of the Ukrainians and the attack of the H-1B beneficiary of a visa who came on to become the world's richest man. Elon Musk says, hey, I was an H-1B visa guy, that's why I want to encourage H-1B visa guys. I'm not even going to get into that.
I think President Trump has capitulated.
Yes, he has. He has capitulated to them. But Peter King, once again, magnificent. 5 days in a row. Never expect to say this again about you. Just park it away as part of your resolutions in the new year of 2025. Curtis has already promised he'll never be nice to you again.
Wow, I've always counted on that, believe me. So, and again, if you're nice to me someday I'll get you that diploma you never got from.
Oh, come on! I want a diploma, damn it! Cindy Adams gets 2 diplomas in 1 year, one from the mayor, one from the governor. She left Jackson High School. She had to go out and work.
Yeah, but it took her to the age of 94 to get it.
They brought her back to Jackson. They didn't even bring James Golden, our host from 4 to 5 who went to Jackson. It was Urkel when he went there. Peter King, stop teasing me about giving me a diploma at Brooklyn Prep, which kicked me out and graduated you.
I tell you, that's one of the 2 great decisions they made, having me as a graduate and you as a non-graduate. But maybe in Christian Jesuit charity, we will give you a diploma sometime if you straighten your act. I tell you, if you keep getting on the front page of the Post, you'll be able to buy the whole Jesuit order.
Thank you, Peter King. Happy New
Peter
Year.
King, Happy New Year.
John. Great. Thank you, guys.